Okay, we are live here again at City Grow. We're excited to have you with us today. I'm John. I'll be hosting the show today, and we've got Steve Russell with us today, one of the founders of City Grow. So he's been here from the beginning, worked with thousands of businesses, helps out on our customer support team. So very knowledgeable. Today we're talking about data collection, and specifically in situations where you don't want to hold up the line. Let me pause just real quick, just as a reminder for anyone watching. So this is a sponsored show by City Grow, but it's really geared towards businesses of any software. It's a retention. I guess the purpose is retention. You don't have to be a City Grow customer. We go out of our way to make sure that we're giving relevant information, even if you're not a City Grow customer. So feel free and join with us. Ask questions. I try to monitor the questions as they come in, so we'll get to them. But yeah, with that said, let's get back to Steve and customer data. So let's start right at the top. Why in the world would customers want to give us their data in the first place?
That's a good question, and to be honest, most customers don't want to give you their data. They avoid that, but that doesn't stop businesses from doing a very good job at getting that data. Yeah. And so the basic premise is you have to have an excuse. There's got to be a reason. Just off the top of my head, some of the reasons. Well, traditionally, it's to win a prize. Maybe back in the day, they'd have fish bowls and you'd put your business card in there and chance to win a prize. That was a reason I gave you the data, is to win the prize. But to complete a profile in a loyalty program, for your chance to win, to get a promotion that day. Sometimes it's like a sign up now to get 10% off. A lot of times I'm going to do that if it's worthwhile. But most importantly, a lot of businesses do it because it's part of the process. One of my favorite examples is actually Topgolf. That's not everywhere, but for those cities that have a Topgolf in there, and if you visited there, their process is before you can go there and play their golf driving range game, you have to get a card. And that card actually costs you $5. And you have to give them all their information.
So you pay them to
give you information, yeah. And they get thousands of data, new customers' data every day per location. It's incredible. So yeah, you have to have a reason. We're just not going to come in and go on the wall with our pen and give you their data. There's got to be a good excuse, a good reason. So
that's an interesting concept though with that you bring up with Topgolf, because the reason is it's part of the system there. I mean, right. So a lot of times, I guess I could replace reason with incentive. You got to have an incentive to give your information. There's a lot of businesses that just do a really good job of making it part of the system. In fact, last week we talked about waivers. Yep. As a way to just be part of the system. So yeah, just a note that came to mind is, if you can make it part of the system, it's fairly easy to collect that kind of data. So, but in whatever case you're collecting it, what kind of data do we want to collect? What kind of information?
That's a good question, because a lot of times when we're working with one of our clients and they're asking us what data should we collect, they want all sorts of data. They want their name, they want their address, they want their birthday. And we always have to talk them down and let them know some flip the scenario and say, okay, the more data you're going to collect, the slower it's going to be on your lines. But really think about what data you're going to actually use. Some of that data is, well, first off, that the best data to collect is the contact data, meaning communication. Email is a communication tool. That's a data piece that you should collect. Phone number is a data piece you should collect. And then anything that you're going to for sure use to communicate with them. Birthdays, if you're going to do a birthday club. Anything else might be overkill. You might have just a small restaurant, and you might ask for everyone's names, but you might never ever use their names in your communication. So you just wasted people giving you their first and last name. So whatever info you're going to actually use, that's what I'd say to collect. Nothing more.
Okay. So, and I hammer on this every show, but as part of that data collection, I think it's important to note that you have to collect consent. Again, it's such a shame to build these huge networks of data and then go back and realize that I have 10,000 phone numbers and I can't contact a single one of them because I don't have consent. So make sure in whatever form, and we'll talk about some different tools that you can use to collect data, but whatever one you're using today, make sure you just have a box on there that people are checking, or a way to get their consent that says, yes, I would like to receive messages from you, or marketing messages.
Yeah, consent is so important. That's what makes your list turns it from a spam list to knowing and feeling confident that your people on the list want to receive messages from you. If they've given you that permission, then you can feel confident that when you send it out, they're eager to get that information.
Yeah.
It's going to just make it quality all around.
Cool. Okay, so now I want to talk about some tools that we use to collect data, and I want to be as practical as we can to give anyone listening some ideas. And so I want to keep in mind anyone from fast-paced, like quick serve restaurants that don't have a waiver that you can sign, or like they're not registering like at Topgolf, all the way through to salons that maybe do, and others. What are some tools that maybe have been traditionally used even outside of City Grow to capture data?
Well, the first thing I want to mention is that there's too many businesses just not collecting data, and that's traditionally how it started. Businesses didn't collect data, and then 20, 30 years ago, I don't know when it started, to be honest, but people started doing it in clever ways. They'd have that fishbowl out there where you could just put your business card, and that seems old-fashioned today, but that's better than not collecting data. And as we continue to go on that route, we have people that would have forms up on the table that says enter for your chance to win, and you would fill out the form, and I see that quite a bit. Put it in the box, look that in the box. But today, in today's day and age, there's more advanced ways to do it. POS systems can do that now, where people can ask questions and they can complete a customer profile right on the POS system. SMS keywords, where you can put signage up that says text this keyword to this number, and now I am giving consent and opting into a system.
Yeah, a good point on that, because texting actually counts as consent.
Correct.
In fact, so we've had some things this week that have brought up a lot of what we call double opt-in. And because if you get verbal consent over like the counter, you can have people reply to that first message yes, or to an email, yes, I'd like to be part of your list. So sorry to cut you off.
No,
I just wanted that was a good point that counts as consent.
Absolutely. And then our favorite obviously is kiosks. Those are very customizable, and you can collect whatever data you want there just by putting an iPad or some sort of tablet on your counter. You can collect good information there. And then the other way for brick and mortar, it's a little bit tougher, but websites. That's the most probably used way out there is through websites. But for brick and mortar type businesses, they don't have the advantage of customers always going to their website.
Yeah.
And so you might have a form on your website that says sign up for a birthday club, but you have to get people to your website as well. So that's a great way. You should be doing that. But figure out the best way to get the customers that are already coming through your door. Those are the people you want to collect, and you have to do that inside your store.
Yeah. Okay, so we talked about some incentives, and all the ones you talked about, the enter to win was one. Loyalty. How many people do you think realize that the loyalty program that they're participating in is really kind of a cover to collect data?
Yeah. Probably not many at all.
Yeah.
In fact, we always not laugh at that. That's kind of rude. But historically, the loyalty program has been the 10 punch punch card, and that punch card is the loyalty program, and it doesn't collect any data. And so in today's day and age, you do those 10 punches, but you do it digitally, and you make them fill out a customer profile before they can do it, collect that consent, and a lot of people don't even know. They don't even realize. They just think it's part of the process. I'm signing up for the loyalty program, and by the end of it, I'm joining the loyalty program, but I'm also now getting I'm opted in to receive communication from that business, which is huge.
Yeah, I think there's probably even some business owners, and a lot of them that'll watch this video, whether live today or down the road, that don't really think of loyalty programs that way. Maybe they think of loyalty programs more of just the incentive for people to come back from the consumer point of view, which is true. I mean, there's been a lot of data behind just the buy 10 get one free punch card working.
Right.
But like you said, taking it to the next level is now we know all kinds of data. If we have you register for the loyalty program, our favorite is using a phone number because it's so easy, and we'll get into how we do this without holding up the line, and I think that'll come in there. But if you have them register it, and every time they come back, they're bringing it with their phone number through the POS system or on the kiosk or however you're tracking that, you not only know contact information and whatever you've asked in the registration, but you know how often they come in. You can tie it to purchases. Right. You know whether they're a lunch or a dinner type customer or a fall or a spring shopper or whatever it is. You get a ton of data. So just a different way for everyone to think about loyalty systems is it's really just a cover for collecting data.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, so I mentioned holding up the lines. A lot of the people we work with are fast-paced, high-traffic, brick and mortar, and the last thing that they want is to have a registration form before I get my quick serve ice cream that's going to send my line out the door. What do you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, not everyone has the opportunity to have someone go sit down and fill out that huge form. But there are still some clever ways that you can collect the data you need. When you do have a fast-paced environment with a line, I would suggest that you just capture that communication data point, whether that's and consent. If you can do that, if you can say, just enter your phone number and say that you'll accept future text messages from us, then that doesn't hold up the line. That takes 10 seconds at the most to enter your phone number, click yes, and then you have the opportunity to communicate with them further. So a lot of times what we do is we collect that phone number, and then what we'll do is we'll send out a text message to that customer that says, complete your profile, or complete your profile and enter to have your chance to enter to win, or join our birthday club. And they get that text, they click the link, and then on their phones they can complete their profile and get all the data that you actually really need. And so that's one clever way of doing it. And then other ways is just to not even do it during the line, use an SMS keyword. So if it's a fast food place, you can put a table topper right on everyone's table that says text this keyword to join our program, and that's not holding up the line at all. So those are just a couple of the ways, but
so
yeah, you want
in line, you start with just the basic information that lets you keep contact with them,
right?
And then you ping them through incentives like the birthday club or enter to wins to register more information.
Exactly.
Cool. Which it makes a lot of sense. And what's interesting to me nowadays, in fact, there's a couple places I shop locally at. One's a hardware store, one's a grocery store. That they're to the point where anyone that comes in, they just say, "What's your phone number?" They don't even tell me the incentive. They just have their hand on the keypad and they just say, "Okay, what's your phone number?" And it's become so natural now because so many people do it that just by asking, there are a lot of people that'll just tell you because they realize that it's a part of their account.
Right.
So if anyone listening to this is struggling to get more data, try just asking it nonchalantly. And if they say, "Well, what do you need my phone number for?" You can always probably say, "Oh, it tracks your loyalty, gives you rewards." And it's not a sales pitch. If they say, "Oh, no, thanks," great. You check them out anyway. But
Yep. Yeah, it seems like all supermarkets I've been going to lately have me give them their phone number, and they get so much data from that, and it's super fast because the POS system keeps track of all that data, everything I buy, etc. Not everyone has the capabilities there, but it's just a phone number can take you a long way.
Yeah, and just knowing that they work that into all their marketing, the messages, the emails I get from them, even the receipt, images on the back of my receipt are now catered to what I buy. Data collection is where it's all about. Okay, so in wrapping up here, what are different ways to store all of this data? And maybe talk about from some of the more the older forms of collecting data, like if you are using a list or just a drop your card in the fishbowl, all the way through to some advanced ways that are now available.
Yeah, we've talked so much about collecting the data, now storing it. A lot of times when we talk to some of our customers, they're like, "Great, we have been collecting business cards for years and they haven't done anything with it." So they'll actually have one of their employees in any downtime taking those business cards, entering them on the computer into an Excel spreadsheet, just so that they can digitize it, store it safely, and then when the time comes to actually use it, you can upload that Excel spreadsheet into most softwares. Typically you'll need some sort of marketing software, or you can look at your POS system, see if there's any integrations there, or if your POS system can take advantage of those lists. But get it stored digitally, and make sure that it's put to use. The worst thing you can do is just have it sitting there in a closet collecting dust. Get it somewhere, turn it automated. A lot of marketing softwares can automate messages to these customers, and that's the most important thing, put it to use.
Yeah. Well, so on that note, from a sales background, leads do go cold, and they tend to go cold quick.
Yep.
So if you're not putting this in as day of is ideal, week of is next option. I mean, just soon, right? Because there are times, I've talked to people who have had their drawer full of business cards, haven't got it in their system for 3 years. By that time, who knows who's still around, who's moved out, who remembers your business. And the last thing I want to get as a consumer is, "Hey, thanks for coming into my business 3 years ago."
Yep, absolutely.
So yeah, keeping those relevant, keeping that data up to date, and everything that goes along with that. Okay, well I'm just checking through my notes here. I think we touched about or on most of what I can think of. Is there any other tips that come to mind that we haven't touched base on?
No,
the data collection side.
Just take the next step, whatever that step is. If you're not collecting data, start collecting data. If you have a loyalty program and it's just a basic one where you're not taking advantage of the data collection opportunities, take that step to do it. If you have all this data, put it to use. Just take that next step. All businesses in this day and age should be doing something with customer data.
Okay, awesome. Well, I think we're going to end on that note. We appreciate you guys being here with us, and we'll see you again next time at City Go Live.
All right.